The story of the week in the NBA, the future of Ben Simmons in Philadelphia very much in doubt after his team crashed out of the playoffs on Sunday night. Yesterday, Coach Doc Rivers addressed what the team and Simmons need to do heading into this offseason. Take a listen.
I believe, without going in detail what we're doing, I believe we know what the right work is and the right type of work and the right way to do it. After being here for a year, I really do believe we've identified what and how, and now we have to do the do part. We have to work to do it. It's not going to be an easy job, but it's definitely a job that Ben can do.
So, as I bring Big Perk and P.J. into the conversation, P.J., right when we launched this show, so 3 years ago and change, Jalen Rose came on the air and said he thinks Ben Simmons is shooting with the wrong hand. If you sort of listen between the lines to the things that Doc is saying there yesterday, it could be that we're leading in that direction. When you hear him say, we know what to do, it's just a question of doing it, how do you interpret that?
Well, I just think because it's such a dramatic change. You're talking somebody that's had great success in the league. I mean, a three-time All-Star, an All-NBA player. He led the league in steals. You're not talking somebody that was just a bust from day one. He's played very, very well at times. And to see him go from that to the way he played, particularly in the playoffs this year, it's a little scary. And they have so much money invested in him, they know that this is a big move, and a lot of it is going to be, I think, dealing with his confidence and dealing with his head, and that's uncharted territory. So I just think he knows how big the job is going to be, but I think he also knows it's possible.
When you consider the psychological piece of it, Big Perk, and we understand that Philadelphia is a passionate town and can sometimes be a very tough place, do you believe Ben Simmons can get it back together again in Philly?
Well, Greeny, I don't. And here's why, right? We all asking Ben Simmons to become a shooter and be someone that he's not. And at the end of the day, it's okay to be who you are. And Ben Simmons is not a guy that's going to space the floor. If I'm looking at Ben Simmons and I'm a general manager, I'm moving him to the dual forward position like a Sabonis, letting him initiate the offense, let him dive to the basket, let him be a third option guy where he's able to give you that 17, 7, and 7 a night. Because we all know he led the league this year in assisted three-pointers. We know that he's a guy that's not going to pull up for a jumper. So if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers, you know what's the right place for Ben Simmons? I'm going to trade him for D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley, and I'm going to move him over there, send him to Minnesota, where he could be around a guy like Karl Anthony Towns that loves to stretch the floor and float around the three-point line. Now you're able to move D'Lo out of there and Malik Beasley, because Anthony Edwards now is flourishing and they could get up out of his way. Now Ben Simmons is rolling to the basket and you're getting the best out of him.
Yeah, the Ben Simmons trade stuff is going to be a big part of the conversation here going forward. In the meantime, speaking of a big part of the conversation, Stephen A. Smith said a fascinating thing yesterday on First Take. I want to play you a little bit of this sound as he made a comparison involving the young superstar Devin Booker. Here's what he said.
Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
I'm saying it on national television. Devin Booker
said it.
is the next Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
It is official. His first playoff appearance. And the brother's a number one option, averaging over 28, dropped 40 in a triple-double in the first game of the conference finals. And just the way he plays, he's an assassin.
So, PJ, I'm coming to you on the tape in just a minute to show folks if they haven't seen a lot of him. But Perk, as a player, I just want your initial reaction. I'm looking at your face. When he says that, what do you want to say back?
Well, first of all, look, you know I love Stephen A. Smith, but he shouldn't have said that on live television. That was one of those thoughts he should have kept to himself, okay? Because he's not the next Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was a first-team all-defensive player 9 times, okay? Devin Booker is not strapping like that. But what I will say, Greeny, is that Devin Booker is the third best scorer in the NBA behind Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. And when you look at D-Book and the way that he's able to get buckets, he does it at a high rate. He has 0 flaws offensively. He can stretch you out from the three-point line. He does a great job of getting out in transition. He has a post-up game. He has a mid-range game. But most importantly, you know what he does well, Greeny and PJ? He's efficient. At the shooting guard position, he shoot almost almost 50% from the field. That's how I look at Devin Booker.
So for PJ, for a lot of people who probably have not seen a ton of him in the early part of his career, he's a guy who didn't even start at Kentucky. Show us some film. What are we looking at in Devin Booker?
Well, you're looking at a complete player with one big missing piece, and Perk kind of alluded to it, and defense is not his forte right now. So very unlike Steven to make a big statement like that. But if you watch Book, 40 points, there's the assist. He penetrates. He makes great decisions right there. This deuce right here is part of 40. It ended a 16-0 run by Devin, 16 straight. He rebounds well. There he brings the ball up the floor, knocks down a three. They cut it to 2 late in the game. On the out-of-bounds play, there's the biggest basket of the game. He finishes right now. He's playing so much better even than he played in the regular season. He's from 4 up to 7 rebounds. His assists are up. His three-point percentage is up. He's got to be a better defender for sure. I don't ever put on anybody you're going to be the next Kobe Bryant. Book's played 11 playoff games, but he's really special.
Yeah, there was a relationship there. Kobe was a mentor to Devin Booker, as he was to a lot of young players in the league. A connection is one thing, a comparison is another. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.